Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, Chief Content Producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture and entertainment news website. This is it, guys, my last podcast interview of 2021, and I'm so thrilled to share this with an artist that you need to keep your eye on. He's based in Canada right now, so please let me welcome Fox-Revett.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. I am grateful to have. Thank you so much for coming up, and you are the last guest that I will have this year.
I feel so lucky. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited to chat and just I close out the year with a bang, you know?
I totally agree with you, Fox. I totally agree. So, Fox, let's get started. So, when did you get interested in music and entertainment, and how did that passion evolve into a desire to pursue recording a career in the recording industry?
Honestly, I grew up doing music. I grew up singing, being in choir. I went to a specialized school growing up for singing and for music. Um, I just so happened that I sort of became disenchanted with classical music, which is what I was always studying. And I fell in love with making pop music, and that's what I do now. But I basically just in high school, I discovered GarageBand on, the laptop, and then I just, traded in all my video games for making music on a computer, which is kind of like a video game in itself.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree. And I think that's a good productive hobby because the thing is, when I was in high school, I used to play the Nintendo GameCube, Marvel Ultimate Alliance was my jam, same with Super Smash Brothers. So
That's awesome.
awesome. So let's get started. So who are some of your biggest influences in the recording industry and how did they shape your sound?
I mean, honestly, it really ranges because I grew up um being a big James Taylor head. Like I love James Taylor and you could not take his music away from me. Same with like Shania Twain. I was just constantly playing. But as an adult, I kind of fell in love with the unsung heroes of pop music, which, our Canadian national treasure, Carly Rae Jepsen. And then, I love Charlie XCX. She's like my hero. So sort of yeah, I sort of like everything sort of runs the gamut with me when it comes to like who I'm inspired by.
Awesome. And I definitely think that Carly Rae is a little underappreciated.
100%. She's amazing.
She's very clever when it comes to songwriting.
Insane, just insane. And I was talking to someone the other day. It's just the way that she's able to make these melodies that don't have these sort of hints of or allusions to other melodies she's ever made. Like it always feels fresh, it always feels new. She just feels like she can channel her creativity into melodies that are so different every time.
Absolutely. So you're pretty relatively new in the industry. So what have been some of the challenges that you face breaking into this industry? And how have
Honest
you overcome those obstacles?
Honestly, it's just been a me versus me kind of thing because I've actually been in the industry for a long time, sort of behind the scenes producing and writing for people. But I had the hardest time just getting over listening to myself because, you're your own worst critic. And I just couldn't get past, being like, I need to be better. This needs to be better. I need to sound better. This needs to be better quality. And it held me back ultimately. But I'm excited that I'm releasing now because um I've basically just honed my skill and my writing and producing and everything is just top notch. But with that also comes the fact that I'm totally new and I need to build from the ground up. So you're coming with these fully furnished songs that are like glossy and everything, but how do you get people to listen to them?
And that's true. And besides, you're not the only one that has made the behind the scenes the decision to go from behind the scenes this year to in front of the into releasing music because
Hmm.
I'm thinking about Diane Warren and her fabulous song but and her fabulous
Hmm.
album, not to mention Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. They also finally stepped out in front of the mic for the first time in years.
Yeah,
So you're pretty in pretty good company.
I think so.
Alrighty, so I want to talk about that first single that you released as your own as a recording artist, which is someone new. So, what is the story behind that song?
The story is sort of, I mean, it's I don't usually write very literal songs that have anything to do with my life. I tend to just write songs that are like inspired by things that happen to me. This one just happens to be like quite of a diary entry because it literally was. Some of the lyrics were just entries that I put into my journal, where I was, at the tail end of this relationship with my ex-boyfriend, and I was like, you know, at this point, like, I just want you to change everything about yourself and become someone new in every single kind of way in order for me to want to stay in this relationship. And so the song was just about that feeling. And but the fact is, like, when you end a relationship, you have to restart. Like, you work so hard to, build a relationship, and you give away parts of yourself to that person, and to have to sort of understand and come to the understanding that you're gonna have to do it again for someone else now is hard.
I totally agree. It's definitely, here's the thing, you should never change yourself for somebody else.
Yeah. I know.
Mhm.
The thing is, like, I always find it very fascinating in music that the singer is always someone who is done wrong to. They're always someone who, I don't wanna use the word victim, but they're always like, no one is ever really relishing in, being the bad guy. And in this situation, like, I was terrible. Like, it was so unreasonable. But I find that interesting because I think we all have parts of ourselves that can be so villainous and so, um,
Conniving.
yeah. And, I'm really interested in exploring that. I'm not always the person who is, um, you know, being done to. Sometimes I'm the person who's doing. And that's just as much a part of my story as, everything else.
I totally understand. So, a couple months from now, or as this interview will be released, a few weeks, you'll be released in January. You'll release your very first mixtape, A Thousand Days. So,
Oh,
describe.
not the mixtape. That's gonna come out. That's gonna come out in the spring, but we do sort of announce it. So I'm happy to announce it here. That's which is gonna be awesome.
Oh wow! I can't. A Jake's Take exclusive, one of the last
You
end of the
bet.
year exclusive. So thank you so much, Fox.
My pleasure.
So, what has the recording process been like for this mixtape, or if you're allowed to do that to share?
You know what? It's been insane because a lot of these songs, I actually call it 1,000 days because um, a lot of the songs are songs from my catalog of writing that have been sort of um, growing over 1,000 days. So literally, this entire first release was meant to be like, this is me up until this point. And then, like, I'm really interested in once that book is closed, like working on the next stuff and having stuff come out, much more frequently. But um, one of the songs is also called "1,000 Days," and it's my most personal one, which is how it got its name. But for me, it's just been like writing and producing. I have a studio that I work out of in my room that I got a grant to start up when I was in school. And then I have friends who record out of different studios that I sort of, hop into. And it's just a little bit about spinning every plate, having your hands in every pot. And, at the end of it, we have this amazing, very eclectic mixtape.
Awesome. When you describe that in your room, it reminds me about Billie Eilish and Phineas and how they started. And look what they've turned into.
Yeah, one can only hope, right?
Yeah, one can only hope. I got to talk to you about one song I believe of yours that, even though you're not singing on it, it's a spectacular one. Crying at the Radio.
Yes! Oh my god.
That
I
is
love that
such
song.
a very irresistible piece of ear candy.
I'm so happy to hear you say that. I that is that it's so funny because um I that song sort of landed in my lap. Like, there's a lovely producer out in London who reached out to the singer Michaela with the bare bones of this song. I started retooling some of it with her and rewriting a bunch of it, and then I started producing on it. And it's so strange how it sort of developed. And there are some really exciting things in the works with that song that I cannot disclose at this moment. But um, I feel like I didn't even do it. Like, it's one of those things I listen to that song and I'm like, I don't even feel like I did this. It sounds so good.
And here's the thing, let me just tell you about this. So when I listen to Crying on the Radio, it reminds me so much of Tiffany, of a hybrid. Tiffany's I Think We're Alone Now, and in Kylie Minogue's Say Something.
Oh, that was totally I love the Kylie Disco record. I was totally going for that. I was also kind of going for like it's interesting because I produced it inspired a lot by the Swedish producers like Oscar Holter and Ilya. But it was interesting because the song gets sent to mixing, which I don't do. We have an incredible mix engineer, Vic Florentia, who's a Juno winning mix engineer. The Junos are like the Canadian Grammys. Sorry, I should
That's what I was about ready
disclose.
to mention.
And he's worked with Olivia Rodrigo, and he did something really interesting that I sort of didn't even see coming, where like he gave it much more of this like dance treatment. So like where I had sort of produced it and made all these sounds sound very like pop and radio, he sort of the way that he glossed them over just gave it this dance flair that I just didn't even see coming.
And that dance flair, oh my God, my
I
friend. It reminds me a lot of, I thought I was listening to a David Guetta track.
Oh, why? I'll take that. Listen, I have the hair.
Absolutely. And pretty soon you might have the collaborations list long as he will.
Oh, I
And
can't wait.
speaking of collaborations, we got to
Mhm.
talk about your dream collaborations, Fox. Are on that? Who is on that list? And
Okay,
how
I
would they
think
influence your sound?
you know what? Because there are people that I would love to write for, and there are people I would love to produce for. And honestly, like it's always, because there's the little gay boy in me that just wants to write a song with Mariah Carey for her. Like I want to write a song for The Voice, you know? Um,
Absolutely. Mariah would be a great.
right?
Mariah would definitely like. I could imagine doing Mariah doing "Crying on the Radio" right now, but like doing a soulful
No.
spin on it.
But it's funny because like I write mostly somehow like a lot of R&B music and a lot of the stuff that's coming out sort of near the tail end of this release cycle for me is R&B. Um and there was a little bit of it in Someone New, but for as far as like my pop, I would kill to just like do be on a Charlie song. Like I would love to do something with Charlie. She's so prolific, like the rate at which she releases music and the sort of critical acclaim that she has, even churning out things so quickly is insane.
Speaking of prolific, and now that she's free to do something, Britney.
Britney's another one. I love me some Britney. Blackout is up there. It's one of my all-time favorites.
My all-time favorite has to be "Oops, I Did It Again" because I grew up when she first was released. So "Oops, I Did It Again," "Baby," and "Baby Circus" and "Femme Fatale" are my favorites.
Oh, I love that. You know what? Femme Fatale was one of the records that actually I was obsessed with because when I started producing, I didn't have like guitarists available to me or like all these nice microphones. It was me and a laptop. And a lot of that music was so dubsteppy, which is what I was listening to, and a lot of dance. And so I was like just trying to emulate that and learn from that record. I used to download totally legally the instrumentals, and I would just study every single um click, every single embellishment, and I was like, how do they do this? I was like, I will never be able to do this. This is insane. It's amazing what Max Martin can do on those records.
He is probably one of my interviews that I would love to get of all the people I would love to talk with. And then Speaking of insane, David Guetta's Nothing But the Beat, still one of the best dance albums of all time, is turning 10.
So, is it
Turned 10
really?
this year. Yeah, it was released in 2020, in 2011.
You know what? That makes sense. When I used to go to the gym and I would get on the treadmill and I would just listen to that album, which is so funny because it had so many fun songs. It had like the Jessie J songs.
Repeat.
Mm-hmm.
And then I gotta say, Titanium, of course.
Oh yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
And then I gotta say, Turn Me On, Nicki Minaj.
Yes, you know, we love a Nicki moment.
And then I gotta say, Will I Am, Nothing Really Matters But the Beats.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, we cannot forget Without You from Usher.
Oh, well, that's what I was gonna say, is that was one of the ones I think, like, it's so funny because, I feel like people always forget about that song, and it's so good.
Yeah, it's a really good song. I definitely think that record is probably one of my favorite records from last decade.
That's so crazy. You know what? Like, it's so funny because I used to always be so into his sets. So I would always be so interested into not so much on the songs that would be on the record, but how he would spin it into like a set when he would play at like Ultra Miami or at Tomorrowland. I was like, this is wild. He produced one version of the song and now he's doing another.
I'm still waiting for David Guetta and Friends tour, like Kelly Rowland, Sia, Nicki, Jessie
Oh yeah.
J. That would be a killer lineup.
Oh yeah. No, I can already see it. I can see, and the openers would be insane.
Yeah, and then have like David Guetta come in and have like artists come in one after the other. I could see Sia ending the whole thing because she's done the most with him.
Yeah. Listen, Kelly, if you can't do the tour, I will sing Commander for you on tour.
I love that song, and also not to mention When Love Takes Over, still one of the
Oh,
best tracks.
so good.
Have you listened to my friend Frenchie Davis sing that song?
No.
So Frenchie Davis, former American Idol artist, and then also, however, got her return on but sang the voice. Oh my God, she put a lot of soul on it. And also, if you want a gospel version, Yolanda Adams did a
Okay.
cover of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so let's start winding down our conversation. So let's talk social. So what are some of your favorite social media outlets?
Oh my God. You know what? Like I like TikTok. I need to get on it. I just, you know what? I I just, you know what? It's so funny. I love having photos taken of me, but I don't like to take videos or photos of myself on my phone. So like I find TikTok such a challenge because I'm just the person who looks at their screen and picks themselves apart. So I love Instagram because I love getting to like it's not lost on me that Instagram is sort of this highlight reel and it's not real. So I love the potential as an artist to bring people into this super heightened world that you can create as a musician. So I love that. I obviously love YouTube because YouTube, I love long form content. I just watch cooking videos and I watch people just producing all day.
For me, it's basically I watch The View, I watch the Diz Unplugged, a little bit of late nights, and also some of the music videos as well, and some from Got Talent. So
Oh, you know what? If as far as like watching things go, like I'm always watching Drag Race. That's sort of what I'm always keeping up with. But I don't really watch much. I miss Wendy. I miss getting to see.
me too. Seriously, get your act
I hope
together,
she's okay.
Wendy. I hope she's okay too. But seriously, this is the perfect time to segue into my Wendy Williams story.
Yay! Okay.
Okay, so get this, Fox. So Wendy did her she did her sit down tour all
Mm-hmm.
across the country in 2014, 2015. So I got the I watched the show, and then when she came to Kansas City and I got VIP tickets, she thought my hair was a wig.
Oh, that's so funny.
And she literally went this into my hair.
Which is so funny because she's one of those people who's like, I don't like to touch people. I don't like so that's kind
Before
of
COVID, of course, before COVID.
yeah. You know what? It's so funny. I ever since I've sort of grown my hair long, when and in all the music videos that are coming out, I constantly am looking at my hair and I'm like, it looks like I'm wearing a wig. Like it's very because I just started like taking care of it and it's so soft now.
You look great, Fox, and that's not a wig.
No, it's not. It is very much not. Otherwise, I would not know how to put it on very well.
Alrighty, so second to last question. Could you
Okay.
tease my audience about what's coming from you in 2022?
Oh my god. Just everything. I can't wait. Honestly. I have I really start announcing everything starting in January. This first single was meant to be like a fire starter and a test run. And I'm excited to push it more in the new year. But starting in January, I release my sort of leading single from the mixtape called Just Don't. Super synthy, super Carly Rae, so different from the first song. And then sort of every 6 weeks, I'm gonna have a new song. That's how it's gonna be. New song, new video. We'll have acoustic sessions. I have such a great team that's been helping me put everything together. Um, and it's just gonna be, I think, really unexpected for sort of someone who's just sort of starting out. I think people are gonna be really like impressed. I hope. I'm kind of amazed because I don't feel it's not all me, right? Like it takes a village, and what some of the people are doing on my team are just like so good. I'm so happy for them.
Absolutely. Alrighty, Fox, the moment of truth. Ready?
Okay.
Where can my audience listen to your music, and also where can they connect with you on social media?
Okay. You can find all my music on every streaming service, all of them. I use Tidal because, if you use Tidal, $2 of your subscription fee go to your top streamed artists so that, you know, we can create a better streaming economy. Um, but it's on YouTube, it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music. Um, you can follow me on Instagram at Fox-Revett Music. TikTok in the works, Twitter, Twitter a little chaotic right now. But in the new year, I'm gonna make it my job to make sure it's hard for you to not see me.
I cannot wait to see that. So, anyway, if you missed an episode of the Jake's Take from Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our channels on Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, and Spreaker. Just type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JACOB ELYACHAR. Once again, JACOB ELYACHAR. Are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Subscribe to my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube channel. That's Jacob Elyachar, JACOB ELYACHAR. And Fox, the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar 10th anniversary celebration continues because Jake's Take, the blog starting now, is entering the home stretch of its year-long celebration.
Yay!
It's just getting started. So if you guys want to hear my take on Fox's song and hear more interviews with incredible artists, head to jakes-shake.com. Alrighty, Fox, thank you so much for taking time in your schedule to talk with me today. I really appreciate it.
It was an absolute pleasure. I am so happy that we're just like on the same page about, you have such good music taste.
I'm glad to hear that, Fox. I'm really glad to hear that. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. And for those of you who watched all the interviews this year, thank you so much. I really appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And thank you so. And I have a lot of great guests lined up for 2022 so far. So I can't wait. And Fox, thank you so much. I cannot wait to see how you dominate 2022.
Just you wait. Just you wait.
Alrighty, guys. Have a great one. And thank you so much for watching. And thank you so much for listening. Goodbye.